Hello again, everyone. How are you all? Hope you are all well. We are back again with another Let's Talk Retro. It's a bit of a special one today because from what I've seen, we've got a bit of a Red Dwarf fan who we're going to be talking to today. But before we get to that, a little bit of a recap of what is Let's Talk Retro. It is a show that I do every couple of weeks, talking about people's passion, not just about retro gaming, but other things that they're passionate about. Always looking for new guests. So if anyone wants to come on and do a live stream, normally an hour to 2 hours live stream, and just talking about what you enjoy and what you love. So yeah, without further ado, let's see if you can tell how much of a Red Dwarf fan he is as soon as he comes on the screen. We have Nots Gamer. Hang on. There we are.
All right, Smegheads.
Yeah, it is like we are watching an episode of Red Dwarf. How you doing, mate?
I'm very good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, it's all good. Honestly, the effort that you've gone to with the costume and all the rest of it, it's absolutely amazing. I love it. Let's have a look at the cam. Let's get a close up of the cam.
I'm drinking only the finest JMC lager this evening, guys. Imported from 3 million years into deep space. So it's a fine bevy.
Yeah. So today we are going to be talking about Red Dwarf. I'm going to go down the chat in a second and see who we've got in. But before we get into Red Dwarf, as I said, we're going to be talking about your gaming history first, and a bit about your YouTube channel, and then we'll get on to the main subject, which is Red Dwarf. If you couldn't tell.
Probably, isn't it?
Right, let's have a quick look down the actual chat then, see who we've got in here. Got lots of fire. Yeah, do you know what? That's going to be a thing in the future. People should put lots of fire symbols in when they're in. Fill
It's
up the
quite
chat.
warm in this.
Yes. You told me it was warm before you started. Now you put a leather jacket on and a hat.
Yeah, that's hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ish.
Right, so we have Hobby Lodge. How you doing, mate? I hope you are feeling better. You've been a bit rough lately, but hopefully you've kicked COVID. Retro Chef. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not gamer. Someone.
Don't trust anyone from Knots, guys. Shifty as LD, they're not good.
Yeah, we have Nerdy Geezer. Don't work too hard at work, mate. He's a security guard, though. And we have heard from Dominic Diamond himself, being a security guard is the easiest job in the world. So don't believe Lee when he says it's hard. And we have Retro Bates. How you doing, mate? And who else we got down here? We've got more people. Do you know what? This is the whole thing. I'm going to really try hard to keep up with the actual chat here. So Red Dwarf, and do you want that? We got this. Definitely got some Red Dwarf going here.
Oh yeah, dimension jumping the way in. Well done.
Yeah. Out back there. Mood for some retro. Hello, chaps. Hello, how are you? You'll have to forgive me as well when I am reading these things. I've said before, I'm dyslexic. If I say it wrong or skip over bits, it's because I don't want to make a fool of myself any more than I normally do. So,
and I went to art college, so yeah, I can't spell either.
Well, how long did you go to art college for? You failed.
Well, I don't know. They had lessons at like 12 o'clock in the morning, so I just took one look at the timetable and checked out.
I mean, who's together by then? You can still taste the toothpaste.
I missed that bit. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Anyway, we'll get into that in a bit. Art in Heaven. Hello, mate. How you doing? And right, that is everyone there. So, your gaming history then. I love the way. I'm going to say this now because he's recording the camera and also listening through the TV. So you're going to keep looking at the TV and at the camera.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's brighter than my everything else in front of me. So yeah, sorry.
But it's all good. So yes, your gaming history then. Where did your gaming start for you? What was the first console, computer, or gaming memory that you have?
The first system in our house growing up, and I wasn't heavily into gaming then, was BBC Micro.
Oh, nice.
And played some great games on there. I remember playing Joe Blade and the rip-off of Donkey Kong. I think it was called Killer Gorilla. The guy's got like little spindly legs. It was hilarious to watch him run. But more than anything, I used to sit down with my uncle, and he used to like code games. He'd write the games up out of magazines, and he did we sat down one day and made a working version of a game called Doctor Who, which was just a sprite moving around. The Daleks come towards you and you had to escape. But it was something we did together out of magazines. So that's really where I first experienced gaming. But I didn't get into it massively till consoles. A friend of mine had a Sega Master System when I was a kid, and every time he went away, he used to lend it me. My first real game that I couldn't stop playing was R-Type on the Master System.
Well, what a game to start with.
Oh, mate, it really got me into shoot 'em ups in a big way. But the
it
game
still
was
holds
so
up
difficult.
today, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to this day, I can even remember if you lose a credit on the Master System one, guys, and you're struggling, just keep rolling the pad round clockwise, and it just pumps credits up.
Really?
So you can have unlimited continues on that. And
okay, that is a pro tip because I have never heard of that before, and I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, that's the only way I managed to finish it when I was younger. But yeah, it started there, and then I think my mother bought me a Master System a couple of years later, and the first real game I owned was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I remember we had it in a little like fold-up briefcase, so the console in there with the controller and the power packs and everything, and it was great. It was great. That was my first real bite at gaming, and as soon as I got that, she just couldn't tear me away from the system. It was, it was just opened a whole new world to me. And after that, that was just the sky was the limit. Every bit of money I got, I saved. I can remember going to what everyone wants to buy the latest Master System games and stuff like that in the beginning. It was just that was where it started, and then from there I moved on to the Super Nintendo and onwards and upwards from there. But the Sega Master System's got a special place in my heart, mate. I think that's why I'm such a Sega fan. Is it was where I really did find my interest in gaming back then. And
so with the Sega stuff now, what would you tend to go back to if it wasn't Master System, or do you have another Sega that takes over more of your life now? Or
some people say I might like the Sega Saturn a bit. I'm not sure, just a bit. Yeah, that is die old. My favorite machine is the Saturn. My too many teenage fond memories attached to that.
I never got to experience the Sega Saturn until many years later. I remember there used to be a shop by us that I remember going past, and they were selling off Sega Saturns and Atari Jaguars cheap. And I picked one up and goes, "Who's going to want one of them?" and put it down and walked off. Can you imagine that now?
Yeah.
And it was many years later that I got a Saturn, and I think I played Sega Rally on it. And to me, I love my racing games. The Sega Rally on the Sega Saturn was great.
It's probably the most perfect port from the arcade they did.
Yeah.
In terms of play, that's an excellent game. But what you have to be wary of with the Sega Saturn, of course, and everyone knows this, is that over 2/3 of the PAL library are shit. No two ways about it. 2/3 of the games we got here absolutely sucked. If you want to
worst game then for the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, import all the way. The Japanese library for that system is amazing.
How much longer did the Japanese keep making games for it? Because they stopped it over here, didn't they?
They stopped it over here, and I'm sure they kept the Saturn going until shortly after Dreamcast was released in Japan.
Really?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it was much more successful in Japan than it was anywhere else in the world. Yeah.
So just quickly then, you said that a lot of the games of the PAL region were terrible. What's your worst Saturn game that you've played then?
Oh, I hate Robo Pit on the Sega Saturn. Has anyone ever heard of that?
Robo Pit?
Yeah, it's one of the worst games I've ever played. I'm going to keep looking over to the left to see if I can find it. And
what kind of game is it?
It's robotic. No, there it is. That, in my eyes, is probably the worst PAL Saturn game you can get.
Never ever seen that game before.
You sort of make little battle bots. It's a little bit like Robot Wars. Okay.
Now you got my attention.
Robot Wars. So you make your little sort of people up, and you put different accessories, arms, legs, things to attack with. But it plays so slow. But even when you get to the end of a level, it takes over a minute to tell you you've won or lost, and then you got to wait. Oh, mate, avoid. It's probably good on the PlayStation. Like most,
I mean, I know that there's a Robot Wars game on the PlayStation 2, which is honestly the worst game I ever paid full price for.
Yeah. So many cash grabs then, weren't there?
Absolutely.
On franchises. But yeah, that's my least favorite Saturn game is Robo Pit.
So your YouTube channel then, what do you focus on now? What would people expect if they come to your channel now?
Well, now I've kind of established that I'd like to mod my consoles. I do like doing a lot of console mods, but I've been branching out, trying new things. The Having a Blast series I'm doing at the minute, just sort of sit down, compare two games, and just talk to the TV for an hour and then upload it. I quite enjoy doing those. But yeah, I really want to get back into more mods. I've got a few more Dreamcast ones I'm going to get out. That the Dreamcast video I did upgrading it seemed to do really well. So
Yeah,
I've got a few
I
more
saw that
accessories
one.
to put in that. But it's mainly I just like pickups videos, gameplay videos, and mods more than anything. But I quite enjoy jumping in on live streams. This is the second one I've done, but
I have forgotten. I'll do it now. Paul Retrobite or Nerdy Geezer, can someone put a link to Nots Gamers channel in the chat? I have forgotten to put it into the actual description, which I'll do afterwards. But obviously, if I touch anything now, this is when I tend to break stuff and the stream will go off completely and whatever else. So if you can just put me a link down in the channel, into the chat, guys, and go and check out Nots Gamer. Do you know what I love about your channel, though? It's the humor you put in with it. Yeah, I mean, I saw an intro the once when you were talking to the camera, and then you just did a bit where you're walking towards the camera, tripping over and everything else, and leaving all that stupid nonsense. Everyone is so focused on everything being absolutely perfect that it's fun to see the messing about and the breaking.
I like to dick about. I've got to admit, I do like messing about. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed just putting the funny skits at the beginning of the videos, or like I did recently. If anything goes wrong, I'll just start putting outtake shorts up now because some of the times when you go wrong is truly hilarious, and it don't deserve to end up on the cutting room floor.
There we go. Retrobite has put a link to your channel, and honestly, I recommend anyone go and check that out because great channel that you need to watch. Right before you get too pissed.
I'm not going to get pavement licking kishnickered. Don't worry, I'll be okay.
Let's get on to what we're actually here to talk about today, which is your chosen subject is REDDWARF. And before we get to there, I'm trying to figure out. Hang on, it's the wrong button. That button. You are a bit of a fan, and you've sent some pictures over here. So we're going to go for a couple now because. Which one should we choose first? You sent
just a fan, not a super fan. I don't know where the cast live, and I don't know what colour socks they had on the other day, but yeah.
I know that
sure some people do know that.
So we got here first one here, you and Craig Charles. What was he actually like in person? Is he a good guy?
That particular image there, I didn't really get to anything to say to him because that was the first Red Dwarf convention I went to. Sorry, not Red Dwarf one. This was MCon, and they had it.
Okay, so it wasn't dedicated Red Dwarf,
and it was such a small building that we spent 4 hours queuing around the building on the outside, only to when we got in there be the last people that were seen. So I literally was just like, "Hi, how you doing? Sign this." Got out, but I did meet him again a few years later, and he's such a lovely guy. But he's such a busy man. He's always busy.
What's this one?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I'm going to get the series wrong for this. But it was when they had another polymorph on the ship, and they all sort of went round trying to kill it. They all dressed up in this weird outfit. And I made one for Dimension Jump. I thought I'll be Rimmer, and I made all the little Nerf guns and sprayed them up. And
well, we're talking about costumes. What's this?
That's my laundry list. Don't look at that. Yeah, they're not my clothes. They bend.
How many costumes here have you actually got?
I reckon I made about 11. I haven't got all of them anymore. A lot of them obviously don't last a convention. But as you can see at the bottom of that one, I got my Dayglow orange moon boots, which were...
When you say they don't last a convention, what do you mean? Does the party afterwards get a bit out of hand?
Yeah, and the stuff ends up getting wrecked, or you lend a shirt to somebody to enter the contest and you don't see it again and stuff like that.
What do you mean by contest?
It's all good fun.
When you say contest, what do you mean? Do they actually do a costume contest and stuff?
Yeah, they never used to. And then obviously cosplay's caught on in recent years. It's not something I ever did. It says here in a Lister outfit, okay. But being pulled into that community and seeing what people were making and how clever their designs were, I was like, all my life I've wanted a Dave Lister jacket. And so I spent 2 years making this, researching it, finding all the badges and bits and ins and outs. A lot of people in the Red Dwarf Posse Facebook group helped me find stuff, scans from magazines with the correct patches in, and it was so difficult to make.
How much did it cost to make the jacket?
I lost count. I lost count. Some of the badges were stupid because you had to buy some odd Second World War Russian badges to go on here. I think there's one on the arm, and that was about 40 quid.
Really? That's some dedication. That is.
There he is. This one here is like a little You see that? That cost an absolute flipping fortune, and you can barely see it.
So all that 40 quid, just because the thing is, if you hadn't have spent that 40 quid, you would have known it wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, I was already down the rabbit hole, so I had no choice to either make one out of tinfoil or find one. And yeah, it took ages to find.
So where we're talking about Red Dwarf, we'll go for some more pictures in a minute. So what actually got you into Red Dwarf? Why the passion and why there's so much love for it?
Well, I don't know. This always makes people laugh. How I first saw Red Dwarf, the first time I saw it, okay, I came into it season 3. I'm not as I'd missed season 1 and 2 because of being a little bit younger. And my parents used to watch it on BBC 2 after they'd sent me to bed. So what I used to do is creep downstairs thinking it didn't hear me, all the way down to the bottom of the stairs, across the squeaky wooden floor, like your parents can't hear you on that. And I'd scrunch down behind the living room door and watch Red Dwarf through the crack in the door. So my first experience was watching backwards on, through the crack in the door. And the worst thing is, later on in life, my parents told me they knew I was there, and they let me stay there instead of came into the room.
Do you know the worst thing about that is, if they knew you were there, why didn't they just say, "Come and sit down"?
No, my parents would have gone, "Get your ass to bed," sort of thing. But yeah, they just let me watch it because they could see that I enjoyed it, and I did. Yeah. Once it had finished airing on TV, and you didn't have the digital catch up like we've got nowadays.
Yeah,
waiting for the DVDs to be re-released was horrendous. I just remember every time one came out, it was an event for me. I'd buy that, and I would spend all weekend going for the DVD and extras and stuff, just because I did genuinely love the show. It just got under my skin at a very young age.
It's a question. Well, not a question here from Paul. Legion outfit would be cool. Has anyone ever turned up in a Legion outfit?
Yes, Legion outfit. One lad made a Legion outfit a couple of years ago, and bless him, it was like a scarecrow. So you can imagine he got this morph suit on that was baggy on him.
Yeah,
which was quite funny. But yeah, I've seen a couple of people do it. You just put a green morph suit on, cut the face out, and build yourself a chest plate. I've seen people do it, but when you get down past the belly, it's pretty unflattering.
Yeah, I was about to say
morph suit. So yeah, be warned, guys. A couple of pairs of socks down there or something.
A bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
So you said you came into Red Dwarf. Season 3 is where you came into it, though. What season, apart from season 3, sticks in your head the most? That's like one of your favourites that is a must-watch. If someone's never watched Red Dwarf before,
season 4. And I did have to write this down today because I've not seen it for a while. But season 4's got some of my favourite episodes in, and I'm not going to lie to you, I've written them down here and I've forgotten. So there you go. I wrote loads of crap down today, you see. But let me just get that, mate. You've caught me all out of bounds. Oh,
sorry, mate.
Hey, don't worry about that. That's one thing I forgot to do. Right, loads of stuff down. Don't want that one. Yes, in season 4, you've got like Dimension Jump.
There we go.
That was the first time you saw Ace Rimmer.
Jim Bagley,
that was fantastic because it introduced you to another Red Dwarf multiverse.
Yes,
you got all the same characters in different things. Like Lister was Spanners, Holly was the receptionist. I forget her name in this now, and that whole thing was quite hilarious because everybody fancied Ace Rimmer.
Yes,
when he went to Crichton, it's like, well, here's my number. You call me later. I'll be at home covered in Tarama Salata. I thought he was happily married. He says, yeah, but a chap like you could turn a guy's head. It's just the jokes like that all the way through.
The thing is, though, some people may take their offence to some of the... I mean, what have I been watching lately, listening to, is the Everybody Dead Dave podcast. And they are people who are watching it. One person has watched it from when they were younger, and the other one is only watching it like for the first time now. But they're watching it through the eyes of like this generation, and they keep pulling up jokes that back then they wouldn't have batted an eyelid to, if you know what I mean. So I think sometimes you also need to remember that even though Red Dwarf is timeless, it was also made in the 80s. It was made in the early 90s. There are going to be a lot
more stuff could fly then. I know. Yeah, I think they removed the joke from Marooned, where they were reading a dirty book.
Yes, they actually removed
that dirty book was actually about. I think that's been removed from subsequent.
I do actually know what the joke was about, and I'm not going to go into it now because
no. But that's an example of obviously times change, so that just doesn't fly now, and it had to go, which is fair enough.
So, talking about that though, do you remember the Smeg Ups? I love the Smeguts, whatever. When they were talking to Crichton and getting the questions, and he says, "Well, how come you ripped out this page because it should have been on this page?" And he went, "Well, I've got the book upside down." You know what I mean? Trying to understand the continuity with Red Dwarf.
Yeah,
Just don't
which it
try.
has none. That's
No.
the greatest thing about Red Dwarf is you love it even more when you understand continuity doesn't mean anything to that
Absolutely
show.
nothing.
It's just pure comedy.
So, do you think it still holds up today, though? I mean, I know you're a big Red Dwarf fan, but like, if you look back at like, for example, the British Empire, did you ever watch that? You can't
loved
watch
it. I
that.
loved it.
I know, I did love it, but it doesn't hold up today. I really don't think you can sit and watch it today. Whereas,
but the incompetent leisure centre manager,
yes,
yeah,
it's hilarious though that. But I think is it because it was set in space that it is kind of timeless. It doesn't really age.
It wasn't really tied to any time period that's been covered, has it? They're 3 million years in the future in the big black with nothing around them. So it gives them the freedom to just go wherever they want with the show, doesn't it? They could just, if the 1 week they want to find a weird planet, they'll do it. That was the freedom, I guess, that the writers had. They weren't just stuck on in one place all the time.
We've got here season 5 is their favorite. Quarantine, Demons and Angels, great episode. Love that one.
Demons and Angels, yeah. I mean, when I list my favorite episodes, it's not going to be like your favorite ones like Marooned and Demons and Angels. They're excellent, but for some reason there were certain episodes of Red Dwarf resonated with me, and I didn't know why till later in life. But I seem to like all the ones where they go into augmented reality and virtual reality and better than life and stuff like that. And as a grown-up now, I play loads of VR, so it kind of makes sense why I click with those kind of episodes later in life. But don't get me wrong, the top episodes are awesome, but it's so difficult to rank the show. It's easy to put season 8 at the bottom, but you know,
okay. We'll get into season 8 in a bit. Yeah. We are going to talk about season 8 in a bit. We do have a question for you. Would you eat a pot noodle
after the dog food?
After the dog food. Yeah, I said only after the dog food's gone.
I'll have the brown lemon and the soggy water biscuit first.
Here's the thing, though. As a Red Dwarf fan, do you think he actually did eat the dog food, or that they make something up to make it look like dog food?
No, that was basically, mate, that was jelly out of like you get in ham, not in ham, like in pork pie jelly mixed with tuna and bits of mashed up meat. It stunk and it tasted horrible. And Craig said it was foul.
It would probably have been better eating the dog food.
It wasn't dog food. It wasn't dog food.
Oh, it's good though. I'm just going down the comments here. We do have other people joining as well and just asking lots of comments as well. There we go. Nerdy Geezer. I knew that was coming. We hated season 7 and 8. Right, I'm going to step in there. Right, I was not a fan of season 7, but I can now appreciate it for what it is. You know what I mean? I think after coming from season 1 to season 6, it's definitely not as good, but it's got some good moments. What do you think about season 7?
And they're all in the earlier episodes of season 7 as well. Obviously, before they had to write Chris Barry out because he was working on Britus. It was either working on Britus or one of the Tomb Raider films or something. He couldn't do it. He couldn't.
Oh, is that why they wrote him out?
That is why. I think that's why they changed the direction halfway through the season, or had to temporarily write him out of it. Correct me if I'm
glad
wrong,
that he's back, though, to be honest. The one thing, though, that always sticks in my mind about season 7, though, is the Rimmer song. You cannot get that out your bloody head.
Oh, more reliable than a garden strimmer. I love it. I love it.
They always used to put musicals in there, didn't they? What was the episode with Danny John Jules with the Dream Machine or the Dream Recorder?
Yeah, it was
what I can't
the
remember.
Tongue-tied video.
Yes, that one is really, really funny. I do like that. Right, so we've actually got some more pictures of you here, so we're going to go and have a look and see what we've got. If I can find the right button again. Right, do you know what? I think I'm just going to pick random, and you can explain to us what is actually going on.
Yeah, that's okay.
What is this one here?
If you can see at the top, just underneath where it says ahead, I'm there in my Lister jacket, raising a glass for the reliefs of that series of Red Dwarf. We went down to London where Dave did a beer promo, and a few of the fans that I'd met at a convention let me know about it and put my name forward. So I got invited down to take part in this sort of little event for the Red Dwarf beer commercial for Dave. And all I know from that, guys, is don't drink the beer they were using for the promotion. It was disgusting.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah. Yeah, it was whatever cheap hoppy thing they could rebrand and put a lid on.
I was going to say, did they actually try and brew an actual beer for it, or was it just an absolute
No,
rebranding of something?
Yeah, it was just a rebranded beer more than anything. I think I tipped mine down the toilet and got it signed.
Was that the bottle or the can, or what was that?
It was the bottle. I've got one here. Look. So when I went down to that, there we go. When I went down to the beer thing, we all got some beers each. But this one I got signed by Doug Naylor while I was there.
Very nice.
So
how many other people got it signed?
It's quite special to me, that one. But he's a lovely bloke as well, the creator of the show. I met him quite a few times. Sorry about the squeaky chair, by the way. But I met him quite a few times. He's a lovely bloke. And there were a few more images from there. I had a beer with him. We all had a laugh, did a photo shoot. And I think Dave even put a video on YouTube, which I'll put in the description after this. And he interviewed us all. And for about 5 minutes, they interviewed me. And I got dead excited. Watched this video when they published it. And I think I was in it for about 10 seconds saying, I like Whitehall. It's good. But,
do you know, I think you sent me that link earlier.
It was just the whole experience was brilliant. I met some great people at the conventions beforehand. So I went and stayed down with them. And they just show me so much love the Red Dwarf fans have.
Yeah, like this.
Oh, my mate Kerry, she's amazing. She's amazing. Brings out the best in me, don't you think?
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
And it's more of the conventions.
Again at the back, look. That's when we're queuing up for the photo shoots in the morning. But you meet some crazy people, and as you can tell, everybody's dressing up, mate. So you feel weird if you're wearing your casual clothes. So I just joined in with
if you go in your casual clothes.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're a lovely bunch of people. Look, Robert Llewellyn is the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Robert Llewellyn, to me, is. We were talking about this earlier. If he hadn't have come in as Crichton, would the show have been as? Would it have gone in a completely different direction if they stuck with the original Crichton? What do you think about that?
I think they would have wrote the character the same, but I'm pretty sure David Ross would have performed the character much differently to the way Robert Llewellyn did. Yeah. So it would have been, I'd say it would have been nice to see at the end of season 2. We did see David Ross as Crichton, didn't we? But don't forget that they only wrote him out again because of conflicting contracts at the time. He was doing something else, so they had to bring someone new in. But they did bring him back as Talkie the Toaster.
Yes, they did. You know what? Until you said that, then I completely forgot about Talkie the Toaster, and that was his voice. Wow.
I've got a 20th Century Telegraph pole picture I can show Nerdy Geezer, but not on this stream, okay?
Is he giving you a double Polaroid?
Well, yeah. But it's just, you're not supposed to get a double Polaroid, looking at electrical appliance magazines. It's a really bad idea.
All right, let's try and lead some of these comments then. Hang on. What have we got here? Brighton suffered when Grant left. What? Yeah, did it? It did. It's
you can tell Doug's comedy. Doug's comedy is in the earlier ones, and it is much more in the later ones. But Rob brought something else to it, and the last convention I went to was amazing because Rob Grant was there, and he's after seeing us at the conventions, dressing up and doing all the things we do, he even said to me, he says, "You know what, you guys really shown me what my creation means to people," and he's really, really, really. At the time, it seemed like eager to get back on board with more Red Dwarf, but it was just nice of him to be there to appreciate the fans. We just appreciate what he did for us. But yeah, without them together, it misses something.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. But some of the new seasons, it's recaptured something.
Yeah, I am going to say that
they have been better than I thought they would be.
Yeah, I am going to say, though, and as much as a Red Dwarf fan as I am, and I've seen all of them, apart from, I think, the last 2 episodes of the last season before the Promised Land. And I don't even know why I've not seen them. So I need to get round to actually seeing those episodes. I need to watch the final season from start to finish, like I've watched season 1 to 6 or all the rest of them again and again and again. It's ones that pass me by. Yeah. But what do you think of the new seasons then? Like, the Dave seasons. Which one would stand out to you?
The Dave era ones. The most recent one was it season? I forget. Was 12 or 13, whatever they called it. They skipped a season, didn't they?
Yeah. Season
Forgive
9.
me, I don't live and eat and drink Red Dwarf all day long, so some things do sort of escape you after a bit. But I did like the new seasons. Mecha Crazy was great, where Crichton loses his mind and has a midlife crisis. I think
Yes.
no, that one was called Crisis, wasn't it? Sorry. Where Crichton has a midlife crisis.
We'll get some comments correcting you.
Yeah. He goes to talk to the pretend sort of Morgan Freeman god. And yeah, it's very, very bizarre, but I did enjoy it.
What is the episode where Lister signs up and everything everything disappears and he starts disappearing and
that was M-Core.
Yeah, that one I did brilliant.
Like. Yeah, that was brilliant.
The bit where the cat was miming the beer in the fridge, like, you can't see this, and sprays it into his face.
Yeah, the bit, even the scenes like where he's making his beans on toast.
Yeah,
they painstakingly painted everything out and just left it. It just looked so good. It was so good.
I think there are some seasons from the new lot that you really need to see.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which episode it was where they reboot Holly. The giant floppy drive gag had me in stitches, man.
It is. It's hilarious, that bit. It's like, I always wonder what this slot was for as they open it up, the massive just drive on the side.
6-foot floppy disk. Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. That killed me.
Do you know what I think was really lacking? Not so much like the writing and everything else, but season 7, season 8. If they don't have the audience, it really falls flat, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you need the audience laughing and reacting and everything else, and I think you get the best out of the cast from that as well.
You do, but when they film it, be in front of a live studio audience, they have a lot more of a laugh with people.
Yes.
I've never actually been to one, but I know people that have been, and they'll get the warm-up crew out and do a bit of stand-up, and the lads will come out and have a laugh with you. And it's like an evening event, or a weekend event, because they never always finish the filming in one go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the live studio audience does bring more energy to the show, instead of someone adding laughs where they
think where you think
need to be laughing.
It's that classic American way of doing it, though, isn't it? Of being like someone standing there saying applause, telling you when to
laugh. Instead of you just going, well, that was funny, I'm going to laugh.
Yeah. But now we're talking about the audience and everything else. I'm going to go on to something that I really like about Red Dwarf, and that is the smeg-ups.
Yes.
And you just would not get this without the audience participation. And I remember buying these smeg-ups videos and just finding it absolutely hilarious with some of the stuff they used to go to. And then, was it the smeg-ups and you had smeg-outs, and you even had smeg-ups from the first one of these where Crichton couldn't get his lines right. Just absolutely.
The one that always stuck in my head from that was where Danny was trying to remember what was in his lunchbox.
Yes.
Corn plasters, dandruff shampoo, bus money, animal footprint. I can't remember how it all went, but at one point,
triple thick condom.
He did that many takes, mate, that he walked through with it literally taped to the inside of that lunchbox lid. And he still got it wrong. But that was Danny was known for taking a million takes. And
really,
the smeg-ups were him forgetting when to speak, weren't they? Which was quite funny.
I do remember seeing what was it when Holly was doing the new new music notes, and you can blatantly see him reading it off the top of the screen and then reading it back again as he's going back down it. The amount of times I've had scripts sellotaped to things just to get them through it.
Yeah. I was like on my early YouTube videos, mate. I had like an idiot board in front of me with Post-it notes with just words on, so I didn't forget to talk about subjects. And
I just forget about talking about subjects and move on. So, what we've got down here, more comments that everyone agrees that it really suffered when Grant left. I gave up after season of 2. I gave up after episode 2 of season 8. I've read. Well, do you know? Now we're here. Let's talk about season 8.
I can see why a lot of people hated it, mate.
Yeah.
They tried to tell a big, long, overlying story, and we were used to 25 minutes of situation, comedy, finished, bang. And when they tried to serialize it like that, it put a lot of people off. And not only that, putting the crew back also put people off because the show was focused around the 4 guys and Holly. But it's weird. If you dissect season 8, I'm not saying I am a massive fan of it in any way, but the bunk scenes where they're in prison,
that feels in the bunk room,
having their back and forth, that's classic Dwarf. But everything outside of that was wrong in season 8. I really did enjoy the bunk scenes. There's one called Duct Soup. Was that in 8 or 7 where they get stuck in the duct? It's those scenes where they're all just sat there.
7, I think, yeah.
Bouncing off each other with the comedy. That's Red Dwarf to me. all the extra stuff they added in season 8 and outside that just
yeah,
I see why it put people off. I see why it put people off.
I'm glad that they went back to something different. What about was it Back to Earth? Is that the one? Do you know the one with Coronation Street and everything else? How did that come out? A long time after season 8, or because I'm
very
really
long time.
hazy with that.
They'd had 2 failed attempts at making a Red Dwarf movie by then.
Oh, had they?
Yeah, they'd gone all the way out to Australia to make one, and that fell through. They got out to the States to do one, and that fell through. Because a lot of that material was recycled for the new seasons. A lot of it was in season 10, what they were going to do in the movie and stuff. But yeah, it was a long time. I think it was nearly 10 years in between. Because Back to Earth was just a test to see if people still wanted to watch Red Dwarf, which they did.
What do you think of the whole Coronation Street stuff and all the actual being at Earth and the crossover? And
yeah,
do you think they were pushing it a bit too much, or?
It was on a very limited budget, so I think they just decided, well, Craig's filming there today, let's film Red Dwarf, where does it work? But they could have told that story in a normal episode format, because it's just another Despair Squid story, which the story was clever, and it was, the Blade Runner aspect of it was nice, but it just dragged on too long, and no studio audience there to add the atmosphere to it. It just lacked a lot. But it was nice to see it back. So a lot of fans like myself were like, we'll watch it because it's new Red Dwarf.
I do remember my brother saying like, oh, we have to watch it. And if we don't watch it, we won't get another season. You know what I mean? It's that kind of feeling, wasn't it? I do like the Starbug in it. Just the Starbug itself is
the little car.
Yeah. The little smart car. Have you ever seen that in any conventions? Has anyone turned up in a car like that? Or
I'm sure there was a reproduction of it at one of the M-Cons I went to back 2016, because they had like that and the Batmobile and cars from Transformers outside and stuff. But I did see the car bug.
So that's really funny. You got your Transformers car, your Batman car, and Starbug.
Car bug.
little tiny Starbug thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Let's get some more pictures up. And where are we going? So.
But yeah, just before we move on though, if anyone got put off by Series 8 like this geezer down here was,
sorry, I'm still up there.
Pick up with the new seasons, because they are infinitely better. They're not the Dwarf you remember in the beginning, 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, but they are better than 7 and 8. Then it's back to the 4 guys in situations, getting out of trouble, getting into trouble. It felt more like Red Dwarf, the new stuff. After Series 10 anyway. Series 10 was hit and miss with me.
Season the last ones, is it season 10?
No, they were on 12 now, aren't they?
Are we on 12?
Season 9 they skipped, I remember now. Because they explained that in Back to Earth. But yeah, it's 12 we're on now, isn't it?
Okay, we'll talk about cosplay. What's going on in this one?
I believe you watched this episode today, didn't you?
I did.
You watching the Crichton episode when Lister was on the pool.
Yeah.
So basically, I walked out. I didn't want to win a costume contest. I just like to go and get a reaction from the room. So in this particular one, I just walked out and I'd cut an iron hole in the back of my trousers like Lister does, but I didn't use an iron. And I just walked out in front of everybody, did that scene where he sprays his leg to make it match his trousers. And the room just lost it. It was really funny. And those Dayglow orange moon boots, you see, after that, I had to take them off and bin them because I spray painted them. And they were leaving orange paint all over the carpet in the hotel.
Really? Did you ever get?
So, the Dayglow orange moon boots lasted just for that skit, which was quite funny.
So you walked in onto the stage in front of everyone with one of your arse cheeks hanging out of a pair of trousers.
Why not? Why not? I didn't show them both, so you
didn't show them both.
A little bit of mystery there. But no, the year before that, the first dimension jump I ever went to, I didn't have a costume and I borrowed one off somebody. And I entered it and I did the bit from Hollow Ship. Remember where Lister eats a cigarette?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that and that cigarette. And the room went mad. And then I ran out of the room and threw up because don't eat cigarettes, guys. They taste foul.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just did it for the reaction. Everyone loved it. And I don't want to win these things. I just want people to remember.
We talk about reactions, though. I mean, so is this the kind of crowd that you go with?
Yes. That is the Red Dwarf posse meetup at Dimension Jump. If it weren't for these guys, I probably wouldn't go.
And you were right next to the banana.
You can see the bananas pointing right to my podgy belly there. Dead centre in there. That's me.
I can imagine now. This is an absolute amazing laugh when you guys get together.
There's such a lovely group of people. You can see, I think someone on the right dressed as Ace Rimmer. I think that's Gwyneth, my friend. She was great at cosplaying. But honestly, guys, if you're into Red Dwarf, you want a group full of sound people, check out the Red Dwarf posse on Facebook. They're more than accommodate you, and we just fill it with memes and fun.
Oh, I was getting to that one. These pictures are really small, so I couldn't see it. Yeah, you had what's his name? Who's on the stage?
Johnny Vegas.
Johnny Vegas. What is he like? Because he looks an absolute laugh. He really does.
He is absolutely sound. We did karaoke with him for hours, simply because for about an hour and a half he didn't get off. He just wanted to keep singing and singing and singing, and it was like something from when he was in Benidorm. You know, if anyone saw him in that, he literally is the same guy. But behind the scenes, mate, he's so lovely. I got chatting to him. And he's a big geek. He's a big geek, mate. He's got collections of Star Wars stuff, Red Dwarf memorabilia, all this. He would fit in with us so much. But I just couldn't stop talking to the guy. He's absolutely amazing. He even donated some of his Red Dwarf collectible stuff for the auction at that particular event we were at. He had I think he had Lister's cravat from one of the new seasons where he waves it to get in the pub. So I've got a cravat. He had that, all screen worn and a few bits that he put in the auction, but such a lovely guy. He brought so much energy to the weekend, especially after we'd had someone drop out. There was supposed to be the guy there. I don't know if you've seen him in the new season. The same episode Johnny Vegas is in, where they get put in the cell, and there's a guy that tuts. He was in there for going tutting because you're not allowed to criticize. He was supposed to be there, but he was unwell. And then obviously the first night when Johnny Vegas walked out, mate, we all lost it. We just listened to him do stand-up and then sang with him all night and just got drunk.
He just sounds like one of the lads, really. He doesn't seem... Do you know when you get people who go to conventions that they think that there's the fans and then there's them? This seems like he just got in with the crowd and just absolutely enjoyed the moment.
That's the greatest thing about Red Dwarf conventions. They're not like going to Comic-Con where you walk down a table full of celebrities and pay him 50 quid for a signature and perhaps he might let you take a picture. This is like an intimate weekend with the cast.
What you say, intimate weekend? You can't get much closer there.
No, they'll do their bit, and then we just wander around the building. I mean, I was having a drink with Johnny there, just talking about Star Wars and Red Dwarf and all sorts of stuff. He really is such a nice bloke, so down to earth. But this is the problem. When you go to these things, everyone gets a bit paranoid. It's a celebrity and that. You know, you just talk to him like it's the guy on the bus next to you. Lovely people.
Yeah, you go on the bus, Johnny Vegas. Do you know what? You just got me an idea.
He won't get on the bus, buddy.
I might have to reach out and see if we can get Johnny Vegas on as a guest on the Retro 5. Do you know what?
He tried to buy this off me. I won't sell it him.
It's okay. What is that then? Because people can't quite see it in the background.
That's the Dimension Jump 20 banner. Now, when they do the presentations on stage, you'll have one either side, and all the guests sign it after they've done each presentation. And I won that in the auction. I'm not proud of the price I paid, so I'm not going to tell you. But another bloke paid the same price I did. They auctioned them both off at the same time. Yet he took his immediately. I left mine there till the last thing on the, very last moment on the Sunday. And a lot more people signed this, so it's one of a kind.
Nice.
And it's Nottingham, man. Red Dwarf in my hometown. You can see it at the bottom there. Dimension Jump Nottingham, guys. I can't not have that.
That is cool, though. What signature you got on there, though? Which are you happy to have on there?
So we've got pretty much everybody that was there. We've got Hattie Hayridge. We've got Norman Lovett, Danny Don Jules, Johnny Vegas is on there. I think there's a couple of executive producers from the BBC. So pretty much every guest that was at the Dimension Jump in 2021 signed that. And
is that what the prize piece in your collection now, is it? Or do you have any
the prize piece, but one off.
Yeah. Okay, then if that's not the prize piece, then let's get onto a bit of. Hang on. The weird thing is, I made these banners and everything else, and I was going to put them on there, and then I completely forgot. So
let's do it.
Show and tell. So
what in front of everybody? Hang on.
What is the most prized thing in your collection?
I have plenty of Red Dwarf memorabilia behind me because I bloody love it.
This is my prized possession, hence why it's going to stay in the frame. When I said that Rob Grant came to a Dimension Jump a few years back, now he donated something from his personal collection to the auction, which was his very own copy of the UK Body Snatcher Red Dwarf DVD. Now, this is a very sought-after DVD if you want the UK version, because the factory making them here burnt down after a couple of runs. So
Wow.
most of these you'll find are the Australian release. But that was from his personal collection, and I've taken that round, and that's been signed by absolutely every cast member except for Chloe and not Chloe Annette. Sorry, yes, I forget her name, and you're all going to hate me for this, but Kachansky's missing off there.
Kachansky's
Claire Grogan, that's it. She's missing off there, but I've got Ed Bye. I mean, executive producers from the BBC have signed that, but all the cast have as well. So, and that is literally one of a kind.
Does that ever come out of that glass case, or is that just where it stays?
No, that's staying in there. And to be honest, guys, don't watch the Body Snatcher collection. It's crap. They put loads of CGI and stuff into season 1 and 2, and it didn't work.
I was going to get onto that in a minute about the CGI stuff. We'll come back to that one.
But that, guys, there's no other Red Dwarf DVD on planet Earth like this one. So if
you put that in an auction now, right, just hypothetically, what would it reach, or would people just like?
I don't know. It's not authenticated because I'm never going to sell it. But I can happily tell you, I tracked these people down and got the signatures. But to me, it's priceless. But you can get a signed Red Dwarf DVD on eBay for 20-30 quid. So some of them are quite cheap.
I picked up a Norman Lovett stand-up live DVD in a sleeve, and it was signed from a charity shop for 10p.
Wow.
So that's as far as my signed memorabilia of anything goes, because I've got nothing signed.
I think years ago, my mum won a box of Red Dwarf stuff on eBay. Nobody wanted, and years later, she told me she paid £8 for it. It had calendars in it. It had the full collection of Red Dwarf cards. Not the extra ones they did because they're very expensive, but the full base set of those. There was loads of models. There was a load of Corgi models in there as well. It's just so much stuff. CDs, books, DVDs, everything. I got loads of signed books in that bundle. So we just got lucky. She bought that for next to nothing. And that's what started me off collecting all this stuff in the first place. Because I didn't realise there was any sort of stuff out there for Red Dwarf other than the DVDs.
Yeah, it's not the DVDs as well, but the magazines as well. My mate of mine has given me a couple of the magazines, the original ones, and you know what?
Yeah,
some of the artwork in that is amazing. Did you ever sign up to any of the magazines, or did you? Was it Better Than Life? Was that the ones they did later on as well?
Yeah, I was still too young for all that stuff at the time though, because I think by the time I'd watched, what was Red Dwarf 3 on? Was it 89, 90, something like that? So I wasn't even 10 years old, mate, at the time. So just watching the show was enough for me then.
Yeah,
I went back to play with my Lego.
So any other bits you've got in your collection that you're actually really proud of? I mean, you did show me that the Starbug earlier on.
I do have the Starbug playset. This thing, honestly, future me here kicks myself for not buying this for a $29.99 from Argos years ago, guys, and we all kick ourselves for this. It's worth a bloody fortune, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
A few years closer to the camera. Knox Gamer bought that for me one Christmas, and I think it was about 90 quid then.
The price of that now
is these legs are very flimsy, and because it's all plastic, I wouldn't take it out and play with it, guys. It would probably just.
Have you ever taken it out of that package, or has it always stayed in there?
No, it came out once. Just so I could see what was inside. But it's all held down with sort of twisty ties. So
yeah,
technically. It's unboxed and reboxed again. But
do you know what that reminds me of? Have you ever seen people when they're selling games and they say it's sealed at one end?
Yeah, it's not sealed 10 years ago, and I cut it.
Yeah,
I've had a few of those.
Yeah, it always makes me laugh when you see that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Were you telling me that there was a model that you were saying before? Sorry, were the bobbly head models that somebody had?
Yes.
Who was that? What?
I've got the 4 that were available.
Yeah.
You got Lister, Crichton, Cat, and the Inquisitor. And they made a 5th one. They made 2 Arnold Rimmer in gingham dresses. One went to Doug, which is still in his personal collection. And the other one, I'm not sure where that went. But we were going to get an Arnold Rimmer bobblehead with Mr. Flibble in the gingham dress. And that just would have been so good.
Do you think he'll ever actually release that, or...
I don't know. At a couple of conventions, people were trying to convince Doug to bring it in just so he can scan it and 3D print one. But he was having none of it.
He's got the only one, and that's it.
He's got the only one that we know of. So here's our Crichton, Bobbly.
That's pretty much how he walks around, though, isn't it?
There appears to be a spill on aisle 4. I can clean that up. But these are really cool. When they came when I was younger, though, this one was damaged. I had to glue all his head and his shoulder back on. But he's okay. And we got everyone's favourite.
Twain Dibley.
I watched that today. Was it where they wake up? Back to reality, better than life.
Yeah, back to reality.
I'm going to be terrible. Yes.
Last episode of season 6, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
They get killed by the despair squid.
Do you know the bit that makes me laugh in that episode, though, is the bit when they're doing the police chase, but they're just sitting on the boxes. Yeah, you could just tell that they had no budget, but wanted to do a big chase and everything else. And they were just sitting on these boxes, going up and down. And
let's just do it all in their head.
Yes.
Of thing. It was good.
Oh, look, they've got rocket launchers.
Helicopters.
Yeah.
People when they wind the window down.
It sticks his head out. Again, the outtakes on that where they go over the bumps and Rimmer falls off the back of his chair.
Yeah.
The whole box falls over. So you can see when they do the real outtake of that, well, the real take of that, he's holding on a little bit harder to his seat so he doesn't fall over again.
Yeah. I think it was sitting like a hollow crate, wasn't it? So there's no weight to it.
So here we have the guy that deletes you all from existence, you puny, wretched people.
So there's the Inquisitor.
I have seen one of those in a local toy shop to me, and he was asking 75 quid.
You are joking.
No. So
I'm glad I got these for the RRP.
Yes. So I saw that, and the Inquisitor one I absolutely love because I love the Inquisitor episode. I really do. It's it makes no sense whatsoever when what Lister's trying to do. And then at the end, it's obviously backfires and everyone comes back. But the Inquisitor mask and everything else is such a cool mask.
It was quite, watching that as a kid, it was quite unnerving as well.
Yeah.
You know, having this startling realization that some bloke can just come and snap you in half like a twig and just delete you from existence. It was really funny.
The other bit that sticks in my head from that episode, though, is when Lister picks up the hand and he says, "Oh, you've got it in your jacket." He says, "Shut up or I'll hit you to death with the wet end."
I'm going to do something totally gross. Just don't watch.
It is funny. You know.
It is. And everybody's fearless David Listerton Smythe. I do like that's my favourite one.
Do you know what would have been good? Is if they'd done him as the Man Plus, was it when he turned into half RoboCop? Can you imagine if they'd done a bobblehead of him as a tiny little RoboCop?
Wait for me, I'm naked.
That episode, honestly, I saw that one the other day, and it's like, how did they get away with like not being sued?
I don't know. But one weird thing I did notice in season 3, and I think they noticed this later on, is I won't go into it because it's probably not a conversation we should have on here. But just check out David Lister's knee pad in season 3, guys. They really had to change that.
Okay, I might have to go back because the thing is, I've got all of my Red Dwarfs on a memory stick plugged into my TV, as I said earlier. So none of them are remastered. All of them are original. Like you said, that joke's been taken out of the Marooned episode, and that's still in mine. So I'm going to have to go back now and see what you're talking about.
It was all still in the initial DVD releases as well. If you got the 2 DVD sets that came out at the time, but then when it got around to just, you know, when they brought out just the shows and stuff, you were getting the edited stuff. I know it's edited out for a reason, but when it was in there when you were growing up, you like to see it exactly as you remember it, tasteful or not. Yeah.
Do you know what it reminds me of? And a completely different thing now, but it's like if you watch Only Fools and Horses, there is some very, very questionable jokes in Only Fools and Horses, but if you took a lot of it out, it would make absolutely no sense whatsoever.
No.
Oh, it's somebody said there, if you have, and I'm not going to say it because mine will go off, there are some Easter eggs. Have you ever tried the one asking if it wants any toast?
No, I've got a flipping Google, guys. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's quite a few hidden Easter eggs. I know that the Nerdy Geese is probably going to go hone from work and try and find some of these. Stuart here, how you doing, mate?
Do it with my stuff as well. Would anybody like any toast? Crumple?
It goes down the whole
crumpet,
list.
Bagel, waffle, baguette. No.
Right. Anyway, so let's get to some more pictures here. Because I said you did send a few. I'm trying to go through them. I really should need glasses because at the moment they're like this, on the side of the screen. I'm trying to look.
Okay, mate. I'll keep looking at my TV. You guys are in here.
Yes.
It's I've done like 2 live streams now, so please be gentle.
So, what's going on here?
My epic beard, mate. I had an epic beard. It's not yours. It's not anywhere near yours, but I was proud of that. I got obsessed with making stuff from hammer beads. I don't know if you've seen on my channel. I did the time lapse and made a nice little Knox Gamer sort of logo thing. But I love making sprite work with hammer beads. And I saw somebody had done pixel work of the 4 main Red Dwarf guys. So I took that, ran with it, and just made all the different series type of characters with hammer beads. So I had the little Crichton square. I made a little cube of Crichton when he got in the Crusher. And like you said, the Mr. Flibble one. And Chris Barry loved the one with the gingham dress so much, he asked me if I could have it. And I think he's got it at home. So I actually gave him that.
If he asks you for it, you just go, yes.
Maybe take them all.
Yes.
Take everything. But
that episode,
I think I went to one convention like that, and I made a load of little scutters and little H's as well with beads. It was just handing them out to people. They loved it. It's all good fun.
I knew there was a picture I was supposed to put in here, and I completely forgot. You saying scutters. I'm also a big Red Dwarf fan, and do you know there was a robot called Scutter's Revenge and Return of Scooter and everything? The Spawn of Scooter as well was the last one. And it made me laugh every time as a kid going, Scooter in there. Can you just imagine someone turning a Scooter into a fighting robot?
Going at them like that with his beak.
Talk about the Scutters, though. The one that always sticks in my head is when somebody was telling off one of the Scutters, and you can blatantly tell that somebody put like the hand inside one to turn around and give them the fingers.
Because it's the one that turns around and does that.
Yeah. It's just someone's hand in it. You can't... Okay, again, Scutters, did you see, and we're going to talk about it now, the pilot episode of Red Dwarf in America? Did you see what the Scutters look like in that?
Ooh.
Go back and
genuinely
watch it.
can't remember.
They are painful.
I've watched it a long time ago, mate, that one. And,
okay, so now we're on the subject, though. What did you actually think of the American pilot of Red Dwarf?
I got frustrated that they have to recast everything and say it all again just because they think Americans can't understand our comedy. When as it transpires, they love the British Red Dwarf, and they hated that. But the casting was okay. The guy they cast for Cat, I think, actually either trained with or taught Danny John Jules to dance. There is a connection between him and Danny John Jules. Yeah. So he wasn't a bad choice if they were recasting. It's just everyone else. You know, and it caused a rift between the cast as well because they didn't want to sign up for the American show. Robert Llewellyn did. So their relationship soured a bit for a while. And that affected the first attempt to get a Red Dwarf movie off the ground, as far as I'm aware.
There was actually quite a lot. Did they not talk for a long time then, the cast?
I don't think they fell out, but there was that sort of animosity there where they're like, you know, they're all in the room and they're thinking, you took the bait and we all were going to not do it sort of thing. But they're all fine now. They're all fine about it now. They laugh about these things. But yeah, the US pilot of Red Dwarf was a bad idea.
I don't know who it was they cast as Lister, but they cast some like 6 foot tall bodybuilding. Yeah, I don't know his name, but the complete opposite to what Lister is.
Yeah, but the complete perfect average American guy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sorry for all our American viewers, is the guys that make your TV shows think you're dumb. They remake stuff because they think you're dumb.
Yeah. They tried to remake Fawlty Towers for America.
Yeah, I'd find it insulting. But that's just me. But some of our comedy obviously doesn't make sense to them, doesn't slide, and it's understandable because we're half a world apart. But yeah, I just find it insulting you have to remake things.
Yeah, I do struggle with some American comedies out. My wife watches them, and I'm sitting there going, well, these people have just been recast from this show, and you've put them all into this show. You know what I mean? That's what they do all the time. So there was a load of people... I'm sure they used. It was the woman from Frasier was Holly. I can't remember the British. I can't remember her name now.
But she was okay, but
it wasn't right.
No. You see, Hattie and Norman have got that very, very similar mindset when it came to comedy because you stand there next to each other.
So deadpan.
They both told you the same gag and the same stand-up show. You'd get the same reception because the delivery on those two comedians is fantastic. They're so deadpan. And Hattie, honestly, as well, she's one of the nicest people you will ever meet.
Is she? Do you know what? I'm glad that
she was a fan of me. I went to my second convention and I'd put Holly on my little watch. So
hang on. I'm sure you sent me that one.
I think I sent you that one, didn't I?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll have a look.
That's all right. I'll just have another beersky. Not too many. I just want to get nicely drunk. Oof. Yeah, my accents are crap as well, guys. Feel free to.
No, yeah. Do you know what? I don't think I put it on here. I know you sent it across because I remember looking at it. Then again, we are talking now about me trying to do StreamYard. I'm not up to level, and I'm going to say it now because otherwise he will hate me. It's Retro Chefs who's down there. He knows how to do StreamYard. We were trying to wing this going up. You know what I mean? We had to put these pictures in as MP4s so that each one is a 14-second or 13-second video clip.
Yes, there's a bit of a mad dash, wasn't it, towards them going, oh, crap, we need to convert all these images.
You sent them all over, and it was like, okay, that's great. I'll do them in a bit. And I went, click them. It went, all must be MP4s. Shit. Yeah, it's just...
Well, I was sending you a video of the picture. It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very odd. Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't got that. We do have you with... Oh, actually, there it is. Sorry, I was completely blind. There we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's lovely, mate. When I did that, she remembered me from a previous convention. A couple of them remembered me because I am a bit of a character, I got to admit. But yeah, she was a fan of me, saying I want to sell. So she took a picture with me for having Holly on my at the time, and yeah, she's so nice, mate. I think at the last convention, I got up in the morning. You get up in the hotel, you go down for breakfast before anything happens. And I sat down eating my breakfast with a hangover from the night before. And here comes and sits with me. Hattie Hayridge sits down with me. And we just wax lyrical about the weather in the morning. Not chatting about what is you just there having a chat with them. That's
normal people.
The beauty of the Dimension Jump gigs. They are that chilled.
The people are actually around. The people at the conventions are actually staying in the same hotel that you're staying in, kind of thing.
Yep.
They're not
Same
elevating
hotel,
themselves above.
The fan club as well. You just can't bend over backwards enough to help you when you're there as well. So hats off to them. I love you guys. They know who they are if they're watching. But yeah, the fan club have been so nice to me as well. They're the guys that gave me the nod for the London thing. And yeah, it's just the whole experience from Dimension Jump to the beer commercial to everything. It's been the last 10 years, this has. Before that, I did none of this. And after that first one, that's it. The last 10 years of my life have been chasing the Red Dwarf buzz around the East Midlands. Just awesome, mate.
So what was it like that first convention, though? Did they welcome you with open arms when you came to it, or...? It
was a very weird one, because I'd met one bloke at MCon a couple of months before who told me, Dimension Jump's in Nottingham. I'm like, no, it never is. And it was a chap called Greg. And I met up with him at my first Dimension Jump. I think it was 2016, I think. And he was the only guy I knew. And I came out of there with so many new friends. Just such a nice community of people. Everybody's friendly. Nobody's horrible. It really is welcoming community as well. So yeah, I mean, if any of you ever thought of going to a Dimension Jump, I recommend you do.
Yeah, because I've been speaking to you about it.
Amazing.
So I would absolutely love to go to one of these. It's just someone who's a lifelong Red Dwarf fan. To have the opportunity to go around, talk to other people and be with other people that are in the same mindset as you and are just there to have a laugh, I think would be amazing. It really would. I think the problem when you go to big Comic Cons and stuff like that is there's so many people liking different things. And there's always this person doesn't like this person because they like that. You know what I mean? So to be in one place where everyone is there for the same reason, you know, it sounds like an absolutely amazing. Well.
It is an expensive weekend sometimes. Obviously, you've got the cost of the ticket and the accommodation. So it helps wean out the people that would just be there to cause trouble as well. So, you know, you're getting a weekend with genuine fans, genuinely nice people, and really accommodating Red Dwarf fan club and the fantastic cast, mate. I can't put into words how much I enjoy going to them. They could have one on the moon next year and I'd go. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
It's your thing, though, isn't it? I bet you, though, when you're going around there, there's constant one-liners and people finishing your sentences. And
It pretty much is. It pretty much is. Or you'll walk past in an outfit like this and they'll say something from the show and you just, before you know it, you've done an whole scene with somebody, vaguely. Just that you don't even know. Then you have a drink and before the end of the night, you've made so many more friends just because you've all got a similar passion.
Sounds amazing. It really does.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I wish some of the actual gaming conventions were like that, to be honest, but they're not all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your divides everywhere, but to me, that sounds like it doesn't sound like it's just a convention. It sounds like you're going to meeting old friends and just.
It
You
is.
know what I
After
mean?
you've been to a few, it literally is that. Even with the cast, because you'll see people whose first dimension jump it is and how excited they are, and they're like, one of the cast will walk past you and because you're on the way to something, you're like, hey up, Chris, how you doing? And someone that's been there, then it's their first time, like, oh, I gotta get. But when you've been and you realise how relaxed it is, and the fact that you haven't got to be sort of really excited to see him, just have a chat, and it's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant.
Right, I've got a bit of show and tell here. Hang on, what was that noise? I think something just beeped at me. I hope. Oh, hang on.
Me.
No, it wasn't you. I'm just checking. I've actually got my laptop plugged into the wall. Let me check. Yes, I am plugged into. It's not that.
Took a couple of power cords out while you're there.
How many strings on there are G?
3 of them.
Go on then, give us a song.
Tuned to perfection. You ready?
Do you know what the worst thing is? That is tuned perfectly to Red Dwarf.
Do you know how difficult it is to make a guitar sound this bad?
Really?
I don't even play one, but now it sounds this bad, I reckon I can. Oh, brutal!
Is it made of camphor wood?
It's an authentic Les Paul copy. This made by one of my friends, Greg, that introduced me to Red Dwarf in the first place. So he sold me this at one of the conventions because I always wanted to make Lister's guitar, and it's perfect.
It's so bad, it's perfect. It really is.
Yeah.
And
for a man that doesn't play an instrument, to own an instrument is a little bit weird.
But then again, that's I mean, you're not supposed to be able to play it well.
No, I have to go out, put a spacesuit on, and go do it in deep space.
What was the episode? It was Sirens, wasn't it? It's like, how did you know that wasn't me? That dude could play.
Yeah.
Where you could blatantly see as well in that episode where Lister's sitting there with his arms like this, and someone's got his arms reaching round him playing the guitar.
Yeah. I resent you saving my life in this way. Classic.
Oh yeah. There's just so many good clips though, Red Dwarf. That one always makes me laugh. That episode where he wakes up and he's just got like getting his massive fingernails and he's sharpening them down and goes, looks in the mirror and goes, "Who the hell are you?" It's just.
Is that Sirens again?
No, Sirens. Which when he wakes up from that's what I mean. It's
Sirens. And he puts his fingernails with a pencil sharpener, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like, this orange juice is revolting. That's not orange juice. That's an early morning pick me up, chilled vindaloo sauce. So, right. Anyway, what I was going to show off is I had a mate of mine, Pod, and he was an absolute massive, probably still is, Red Dwarf fan. I remember at school, he always used to come to school with the books, and he would laminate them with sellotape to make them last longer. Which, if you look at them now, the sellotape has gone orange and horrible and brittle, and it's a big thing. But he was the only person in his house that used to like Red Dwarf, and he used to record it off the TV. And to make sure he knew which tapes had Red Dwarf on them, that is nice. Is the video. He had all of them recorded. He even rewound it so when one episode finished, there was no gap in between. Went straight on to the next episode.
Nice.
He primed it. That's the thing. It's got painted white underneath, so he's primed it and then painted over the top. And it's a prized piece of my collection. This is.
That almost looks like a lovely piece of red dwarf objet d'art from the show, doesn't it? If only it was triangular, it'd be 100% on.
It'd be cool if someone could actually do that. If someone could make a... Do you know what always got me about those triangle videos? I always picture in my head, what player did you use to put them in to play it?
I'd love it. I don't think they named it in the show, but I'd call it something like Zetamax, but like Betamax. I don't know. But I have a Red Dwarf video I won't mind showing off.
Go on then. Go for your video.
This is just a Red Dwarf video, guys. But my sister bought me this last year, and I think it's really cool. I'm going to put this in a frame. So what somebody's done, they've taken the first series of Red Dwarf. They've taken all the tape out of it, but made a really cool little light.
Do you know what? I think I know the person that was making them.
That's a really nice combination. I thought it was really cool, but I have yet to put it on the wall. But nice.
Just a Red Dwarf light video.
Yeah. What the obviously the sad story about this is someone had to brutalize this copy of Red Dwarf 1 and remove all the tape. So I like your videos, but don't destroy Red Dwarf. I get upset. I don't tell everybody.
Say that, I saw someone do that with a ex-rental copy of Flight of the Navigator.
Ooh.
And they ripped all the tape out and just put lights in.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a guy selling them because
You could just get a blank video and steam the sticker off instead.
Or just make a fake sticker, something like that. But yeah, I absolutely love that. And he's also the same guy who gave me the Red Dwarf comics and everything else that I've got. And it's just, to have, not just to have these in my collection, but to have that they've come from him, because no one in his house liked Red Dwarf, and this is the only way he watched them. So
this magazines were great, mate, because they let you into a universe that it was the expanded Red Dwarf universe.
Yes.
And it was the only way to experience it outside the books. And I mean, if you're a fan of the show and you've watched the show a lot, and I got recommended this by the first Dimension Jump I went to by a lot of people, is
Alpha Max, what the hell is Red Dwarf?
they said to me, why have you not read the books? So I came back and I read Better Than Life. And once you've seen the show, then you read Better Than Life and the true vision for the show they had initially.
It was very dark.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that everything in that book then became a couple of seasons. And it's all unrelated to the story in that book. But in the book, you got... It was absolutely fantastic. It covers where Lister meets Rimmer for the first time when he's driving taxis, and he picks him up to take him to a strip club and stuff.
The space hopper makes me laugh, though, because just the idea of getting into a taxi and it jumps over people. But yeah, for me, I read the books, but being dyslexic, I have always listened to them on audio. And Chris Barry, I think, is the actual perfect person to read these books. I mean, honestly, now I will still put them on Spotify and I'll just be listening to them. If you know what I mean.
Because he does all the voices, doesn't he?
Yes,
and he's perfect for it. Yeah, they are great.
It's just weird to think though that he used to do spitting image as well.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean. So that's just where it came
I remember
from.
he used to voice like Ronald Reagan was one of the characters he voiced.
Yeah.
I can't remember many of the others because again, spitting image. I was way too young for that, guys. I'm only in my 40s ish, sort of.
You're in your 40s, actually. So I'm not quite there yet. I'm 39. 40 next year.
I'm 41 in a few days.
41 in a few days. Are you 39 again?
Yeah, let's do it backwards, mate. I'll end up like a spear swimming around in someone's testicles.
Talk about that backwards episode. The fact that guy said that stuff backwards. And then someone reversed it to find out it makes me laugh.
They recorded it forwards and played it backwards.
That's what I know. I know what they did.
Very clever.
It just made me laugh. That it's like, I'm pointing at you, but I'm not actually talking to you. I'm talking to the one guy who gets hold of this tape, rewinds it, and finds out what the hell I'm talking about. What a sad, poor life he's got.
And we all did it.
Yeah, we all did it.
We all took the tape out and flipped it round.
Do you know what makes me laugh when we're talking about the backwards episode now? Is how much of it kind of makes sense and how much, if you actually watch it backwards, makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Again, it's Red Dwarf's lack of continuity. You just have to ignore it.
That's lack of continuity in one episode now. That one is.
Yeah.
But still one of the greatest endings to an episode there where
he's in the bushes. Cat gone, mate? He's in the bushes. We better go get him. He comes out like that, doesn't he? He comes out sort of...
Don't ask.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Don't ask. And that joke gets revisited in one of the new ones, I think, where Cat's explaining about his life to somebody. I think it was in Promised Land. And he's on about, we went to a backwards universe, but you don't want to know about that. Because it obviously end up having to talk about the end of backwards. But yeah, that's a great episode, mate.
What did you actually think, though, of the Promised Land?
It was good.
You actually like that
one? It wasn't... You see, I can't say any Red Dwarf's bad. But some of it's so much better than the rest.
Yeah.
So I like it all. I like it all collectively just because I'm a fan. But obviously I get that people don't like season 7 and Back to Earth and stuff like that. When you know what happened to season 7, you kind of understand why, but it still doesn't make it better. When you see what they did, why they did Back to Earth, it doesn't make the bad show any better, but you can see why they did it. But yeah, just keep any dwarf's good dwarf in my eyes. As long as these guys are still on our screens, I'm happy to see them.
Do you think there's going to be more?
You see, they were talking of doing more, but then at the last Dimension Jump Hours, that they were more focused on doing the Red Dwarf West End stage show.
Really?
Which I hope
didn't think that would ever
yeah, but he
happen.
wants to do some sort of stage show with the cast, and that's about as much as we know. I know, about that. But I just genuinely hope it doesn't turn into a silly musical. You got Craig Charles dancing around. Yeah, but I don't think that it'll come to that.
Do you
I
know?
really hope not.
Do you know what I hate is the fact that we have had games from absolutely everything. How have we never had a proper Red Dwarf game? I mean, I know there's like DVD quiz trivia kind of
There
game.
was a game.
Was
and
there a
it's
game?
bad. Yeah, there was a homebrew game on a PC years ago,
why I
but
haven't seen it.
it wasn't fantastic. But I've just got to say to Fistful of Gamepad, I agree with your comment about a backwards, because, mate, I would go with Betty, if you can see that. I'm not a fan of Wilma Flintstone. I see Craig had Wilma on the back of his...
Yeah, and you've gone for Betty.
But I'd go with Betty. Wilma will never leave Fred, and we know it.
Yeah, going back to the whole... the books again, that little scene where they were talking about Betty and Wilma and everything else in the books, that was after they'd just come out of the game, wasn't it? And they were stuck
that
to
was
the
after they
wall.
come out of Better
And
Than Life.
what makes me laugh about that is the fact that they haven't just been watching it for an hour or two, they've been watching it for hours and days of only watched Flintstones. So that makes a hell of a lot more sense if you think about it that way. And then it rolls on to the ship's dead, isn't it? And that's what goes on to when Whitehole. I'm sure that's where it goes on to with that. So
yes, I mean, it includes so many of those episodes in one story. If you haven't read the books, guys,
please do.
Read Better Than Life, and what was the one? The Last Human is a great book.
But they are on Spotify if you just want to sit there and listen and put them on. I honestly, if you've never heard them before, you will have a much greater appreciation for the show.
Definitely.
And also the body swap as well, when he's escaping out of prison as the sound wave bouncing around everywhere, because isn't that what Rimmer, he makes the body swap thing, doesn't he? When he's in Better Than Life, so he can change his body whenever he feels like it gets a wrinkle or whatever. So, yes, definitely, please go read the books.
Definitely. It just extends what you know about the show, because you've already seen it as well. Your brain can fill in all the information while you read it as well. So your imagination can generally just run wild with that.
It is quite good. Right, did we have any other pictures? Actually, do you know what I am going to do? Because I'm going to change the banner here. With your top 3 episodes then. I know we've just touched about earlier, but the only reason I'm doing this is because we're going to have your worst 3 afterwards.
Backwards, for obvious reasons. It was the first episode of Red Dwarf I ever saw. It got me into it. It's not the best episode, but if it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't have started watching it. My favourite episode is Whitehole. I'll probably get some flack for this, but the very idea of playing 4-dimensional pool with planets, when I was a kid, it boggled my mind, them explaining a white hole to me. I was fascinated by space as a kid, so I would understood planets and black holes and stuff. And then for the show to come along and go, for want of a better phrase, a white hole is basically the arsehole of a black hole. It's the exit of a black hole. And even today in modern science, this is a theory that they still have. And it was just sent my mind racing as a kid. And then obviously getting slightly pissed playing pool with planets was brilliant.
Wicked strength lager.
It was. Do you trust a computer with an IQ in excess of 12,000 to work out a 4-dimensional planet pot into this white?
I knew this was coming.
Let a pisshead do it.
So what is it?
Yeah.
You can't get away from it.
Engine's dead. Air supply low. Vice, please. Love that.
So that's 2. You got 1 more.
Has to be Better Than Life.
Better Than Life.
Later in life, I found out why I appreciated like Better Than Life, and especially like Gun with the Apocalypse and stuff like that as well. I'm heavily into VR, and all the AR machine games seem to just fascinate me, because I'd just got into gaming at that young age, and I'm wow, put that in, fold it down. I can be the Riviera kid on a horse, or Brett Riverboat, and lob some knives about. And it was just the fact that they were going into a computer game. It ticked 2 peak interests in my mind as a kid. Sci-fi video games. So every time I did anything they went into or came out of a virtual world, like especially in Better Than Life, where they played Red Dwarf, the VR game, basically.
Pretty
I
much
now
what it is,
understand
though,
now
isn't
I'm
it?
older why they resonated with me so deeply, is because I just love virtual reality gaming. So I kind of think that's why I enjoyed those more than the others. But don't get me wrong, Marooned is a fantastic episode.
Do you know what? Marooned is one of
Absolutely
those
amazing
ones
episode.
that it's like it's just the two of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that just goes to show the chemistry. I mean, I know that when they
That
started
was
doing
all
the
one
show,
scene, pretty much all one scene as well.
They didn't get on to begin with. I think as time's gone on, if you know what I mean, they've really got used to each other and like each other. And you could just tell the chemistry between them doing that was great.
Exactly what Retrobait's saying down there as well. He loves his VR, and it's from the holodeck in Star Trek. It's weird how these things subconsciously pique your interest at such a young age, and then later in life, you're like, I get it now. I get, suddenly a million-piece jigsaw has fallen into perfect place. Just like working out, that Rim as a Pratt. But yeah,
you've been playing the Pratt version of Rimmer all this time.
Oh, that's a classic.
Sorry,
that made me laugh. Like puddings.
It's not that because I'm from the Midlands, and hearing you talk like that just really made me laugh.
I can't. I always try to do the silly voices. I'm miles out with accents, but I do it anyway. It's a laugh.
Okay, then. Least favorite episodes. Which ones really disappointed you?
Most of season 8. I can pluck 2 out of season 8 straight away.
Okay, go for
it. Stand Pete and Pete 2. It's all right, but the thing with the dinosaur and the sort of devolution going and stuff was, and it dragged on for 2 episodes, which to me, it's Red Dwarf. It should, like I said earlier, it should be 25 minutes. Here's your situation. That's what they got to do. Loads of comedy, finished. And it didn't. They dragged it out. And if you get the season 8 DVD as well, they dragged them out even further with extended cuts.
Did they?
Yeah,
I've not
seen
extended
that. Cuts, though they've got more scenes in. The end of Ticket to Ride on season.
Yes, I have seen the end of that one.
The extended end to that is fantastic.
Yeah,
where Rimmer's in the car going and just walks past and goes, I wonder what this lever's for.
But that explains so much of that episode, though. Without that, it doesn't make any sense, that episode.
That was caught, again, just the BBC runtime constraints. That's all it was. That's all it was.
Because I would love to have known how they actually got that shit back. And I didn't even know that Starbug could split into 2 if it wanted to as well. That's never happened before, has it? So...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're still not on Starbug 2, mate. Must be on about Starbug 40 by now. Yeah. It's crashed more times than the Sinclair ZX81. She's
got to get the computer reference in there.
Load. Oh, that was a Holly joke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That always killed me.
What was the one now?
Sorry?
No, carry on.
I was in love once, Sinclair ZX81. She was cheap, she was stupid, and she didn't load. I loved her.
It kills me every time, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, what I was going to say is when they were saying like, Starbucks crashed more times. If you know what I mean, it's like, do you remember when there's an airplane crash and there's like that little baby doll that's left? They made Starbug out of the same stuff.
Yeah.
And Cat's like, did they? You're so gullible.
You're so gullible. Thanks.
See, that's the thing. It's like Cat always came in with just the one-liners, but the one-liners is all they needed sometimes. Yeah. You didn't need the big
blunt delivery of the jokes, mate. That makes it so deadpan and funny. I think if it weren't for the cast's chemistry, you wouldn't get that kind of bounce with the jokes. I know a lot of the times during the filming of season 1, Craig and Danny used to just go out and get shit-faced, and Chris would be there learning his lines, waiting for him to come in the morning, because he told us a million stories at Dimension Jump about how they're all bright and alert and there in the morning, and then you've got Craig and Danny dragging their heels in when they're in their 20s because they've been out the night before on the lash. Some of the stories they told us, great. Obviously, the young lads getting famous in the 20s, weren't they? So they're literally spending the money the only way they knew how, in the pub. Yeah.
Well, the thing is with Chris Barry, though, is I can never actually see him being like that.
No.
He's just not that. The weird thing is, they always say that the characters are like extended versions of themselves, if you know what I mean. They're all like that. I mean, Chris Barry, didn't he do a series just talking about engines and cars and stuff like that? I'm sure there was.
He loves stuff like that, big machinery. He loves it.
So you could really see him like going for a hike around the engine bay, just looking at all the different. Could you imagine if Chris Barry and what's the guy from James May? Can you imagine if them two got together and started talking about machinery? You'd be like, put everyone to sleep.
Chris would have to go on a Rimmer rant, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
That's what makes me laugh, though. Rimmer's obsessed with 20th century telegraph poles and diesel decks and valves and stuff like that. And Chris Barry's obsessed with the same stuff, but big machinery as well. So it's quite funny that the character and Chris
with Craig Charles, though, he's like, I know I've said it before, because I really want to do a Robot Wars BattleBots episode of this Let's Talk Retro. But to me, Craig Charles as well is like, I love Red Dwarf, and he was also the host of Robot Wars. You know what I mean? He absolutely, and how they never called him back to do the new season, I don't know.
No,
Dara O'Brien, as good as he was, right? Here's the thing which people don't seem to understand. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, but when people go, "Oh, it's a robot fighting competition," it is and it isn't. You watch robots evolve, you watch the teams evolve, you watch the cast and the crew and everyone who start off going, "Oh, it's just a show," and then you watch them at the end. They're really invested in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even with the new reboot, by the third season, Dara O'Brien got it, and then they cancelled it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not. I mean,
Dara's a good choice because he's quite a geeky guy. Anyway,
yeah, it's a good choice, but he didn't have the passion to begin with. But they didn't even ask Craig. He didn't even get asked.
No. It's bizarre. I mean, Craig is a busy guy, but he was there for most people growing up, weren't he? If you think about it, if you didn't watch him in Red Dwarf, you saw him in Robot Wars. If you didn't watch him in Robot Wars, we all watched Takeshi's Castle, guys. Come on.
Oh, God.
We all watched Takeshi's Castle.
And, Takeshi's Castle with these voiceovers.
Yeah.
You can just basically tell he's sitting there watching it going, oh,
he's pissing himself. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go and watch some of that now.
Literally just to commentate, didn't he, on a Japanese game show?
Yeah. So a Japanese game show, which half the time he didn't have a clue what the hell was going on. And he was doing the commentating for it. So, wow. I genuinely forgot all about that till you said that. And I've just had a load of memories just come flooding back to me.
Yeah.
And what's the other show I used to love? Scrap Heap Challenge. You know what I mean? That, to me...
Yeah, that was Robert Llewellyn, wasn't it?
Show. Yeah, with Robert Llewellyn.
I think.
Yeah. Did you never watch that?
Yeah, I used to watch that. Just go to some random scrap heap and they'd Robert Llewellyn give him a challenge. Money, you got to do this. You got to build a vehicle to traverse this water or get over this obstacle and that. And they just literally have to pick at it and build something. It was a fascinating show, that was.
Yeah, I did love that. It's actually got some characters from that. I realise now, thinking about it, I watched some really nerdy shows growing up.
We all did, mate. We all did.
So, have we got?
I think on the I think we want to watch this stream. Obviously, he's talking to Retro Chef, mate. I sort of got all excited when he started talking about Jason the Wheel Warriors, mate.
Oh God,
that show was just amazing.
We are going to be doing a cartoon special, and I think we are going to be having it as 4 people, and everyone picking their top 3 cartoons. Yeah. Because if it's just me and Retro Chef talking about cartoons again, he won't shut up.
To be fair, mate, based on watching that and him singing the Defenders of the Earth theme to him, I think I know what his favourite cartoon is.
Do you know what? He does love his cartoons. Nothing wrong with that
can't
whatsoever.
Fault him, mate. Can't fault him.
No, not at all. Right, we are going to start wrapping this up now because I think I'm going to have to go and put my kids to bed. They've been too quiet for too long, which means they're doing something they shouldn't.
Uh-oh.
So, you know what that's like. So then, let's have a look. What have you got coming up on your channel going forward?
At the moment,
any shows planned?
At the moment, I'm working on the third part to my Ultra Dreamcast video, where I've stripped down an old unworking Dreamcast. I don't know if you've already seen it. It's had a new power supply and a new GD-ROM emulator put in. I've now backed up all 200 odd of my Dreamcast discs.
Yeah, do you know when I saw that video?
We're going to be putting a few more accessories in it and having to play with some of the games that we've
when you were talking about that device you were putting on, and you said you were going to be downloading them all individually, I really didn't think you were going to properly actually go for every single one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's taken me close to 2.5 months to do that.
Really?
Because it's so slow. So yeah, I was coming home from work, and I think if you run the Dreamcast till bedtime, I was getting on average 3 or 4, maybe 5 discs done a day. Wow. So it took a long time to do.
How is it to play though? I mean, is it really good? Is it?
You could easily download the ROMs, but I didn't want to run the risk of any of those being infected with anything that wrecks your Dreamcast. So I genuinely just backed up every disc I own on that.
Nice. I did pick up something the other day from Sega Zombie, and it's a similar thing where it's like a card that goes in the back and you put a disc in and you can load it up. But I cannot get it working. I don't know whether my Dreamcast is faulty or what. I'm
If
gonna have to get
you
myself.
have a certain model, it won't work. If you
Okay,
have
I'll have to
the
send you a
sort of
picture.
the last run of the production model they had, a lot of modern mods don't work. So everybody looks for the original machine because it's easier to mod. But it is a more common machine anyway because more of those were sold. But that's probably
the
why you have
Dreamcast to
problems.
me, the Dreamcast is what my brother had, and I do think it's a very underrated console. The Dreamcast. What a way to go though! If that's your last console that you're ever going to make.
Oh, they went out with a bang.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't keep dragging it out and do what Atari did.
To this day, I've not seen a launch lineup as good as the Dreamcast launch. And this isn't me being fanboyish. They genuinely had one of the best console launch lineups in history for that machine. But yeah, sorry, mate, there was no DVD drive. So,
and they also shot
DVD.
themselves in the foot by releasing that disc, didn't they? So everyone can copy games.
Yeah. And obviously there was. I remember around the Dreamcast time, everybody were losing their mind over Bleamcast, weren't they? There was a guy who made a few discs so you could play PS1 games in your Dreamcast.
Could you?
I think
I
Sony
did not know you could do that.
Yeah. There's a Bleamcast for I think it's Gran Turismo, Tekken 3, and Metal Gear Solid.
Wow.
But the discs cost a fortune. You load them up and then you can literally boot the PlayStation disc in your Dreamcast. The original bit of software called Bleem would run any PlayStation disc, but Sony would not let that be released, mate, at all.
Do you know that Bleem, that actually rings a bell? I'm sure I've heard people talking about that before.
I saw the Gran Turismo one in a game shop when I was out shopping the other day, and they do command a high price. I think it's about 45 quid.
Really?
So, just...
It's more of a bit of a novelty now, though.
Yeah. I'm sure you can download disc images, possibly. But being as it was dubious software anyway to begin with, I don't see why they hurt it anyway.
So, yeah, that's what you got coming with that. Any other things coming up? Any more gameplays that you're doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Obviously, every week I'm trying to get having a blast video out, but because we're doing this today, I might skip this week.
I'm sorry.
The next one I'm going to be having a look at possibly Duke Nukem 3D on the Saturn versus the Nintendo 64. That's what I'm thinking of doing because they were very different ports. It looked like Quake 1. I'm having a lot of fun with that at the moment. So I think more than anything, I enjoy comparing games on there instead of just playing one.
Game comparison videos tend to do quite well because people are just like nosy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have only played one or the other. Most people haven't played both. To be honest, I was going to be
doing. I
don't
want to do it where you've got half the screens what format and other half's another format. I'd like to go right. We're done with this one. Let's have a look at the other one because you get a good chunk of gameplay as well. And I get to play some games that have been sat on my shelf for a very long time as well. So
that's good. It's nice to see. We can possibly do more of these Red Dwarf ones in the future if anybody is interested. I know that we've still got an awful lot more that we could be sitting there. Literally off screen, we could be chatting away with Red Dwarf, till the cows come home. It's just one of those shows, though, isn't it? Really, that captured everyone's imagination. It's still going to this day. And the fact that you can go back and watch the first season and it's just as funny as it was back then as it is now. That's, you know what I mean?
There's no divide in the fan base as well. If people have a different opinion about one episode to the other, like, fair enough, sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own taste. So nobody's like, oh, you like this episode and that episode. There's none of that in the community.
It is nice to hear the actual... that the actual cast and everyone else are as nice as I think they are. If you know what I mean.
I think the only problem we had was One Dimension Jump. They invited Tony Slattery, and the man I think he's going through a difficult time, and obviously he couldn't make it. But yeah, I'd rather
are we talking
more about that? But yeah, he was supposed to be on one and he didn't turn up.
Forgot about this one.
McDonald. That guy followed me, a friend of me on Facebook, mate, and every year wishes me happy birthday. Sends me a message.
Really?
It's such a lovely bloke, Mac is. And,
I'm just making sure I haven't missed out on any of these pictures, to be honest, because
that's a very young Notts gamer there.
Is that going to be one of the first ones that you ever went to?
That is the first one I went to, yeah.
Oh, it is the first one.
2014, that was.
Oh, hang on. This is what I was going to end on.
Yeah.
Family photo.
Yeah. The whole cast there. I've got a folder full of photos which we completely missed, but if you do another one, we can do it again, mate.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I got them all there, and Craig Charles was supposed to be there then, and he didn't turn up.
It just didn't turn
It's
up.
a little disappointing, but he's always got so many commitments.
Yeah, to be honest, I did reach out to him just to ask if he can come on the show or anything else like that. He never got back to me, and people have said he's just always busy.
Yeah, the man is a workaholic, definitely.
It's odd though, isn't it? I'd never have thought that he would end up in Coronation Street. Of all things, it's just one of the weirdest things ever. It does really feel like he is in another universe. So
yeah, because he's not being the Craig Tolls, is he? He's playing a serious
no,
role
not at
there.
all, not at all. So right, that is it. We are going to finish now, and mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
I've really enjoyed it, mate.
Talking about Red Dwarf, and you know what? And I know this isn't going to be the last time we talk about Red Dwarf. Because it's just something that we're all passionate about, and we could probably go on. We could, do you know what? If we ever do meet up, we'd have to, especially if I can get to one of your conventions, we'd have to watch some of the episodes, have a beer, and actually just talk nerdy stuff.
Oh, definitely, mate. Most definitely.
And you have
like I said before we started this, I could talk to you about Red Dwarf till the cars come home, mate.
Yeah, You've got an amazing collection now. I mean, are you actually going to disclose to everyone how much you did pay for that poster behind you, or are you going to keep that a secret?
$250 pounds.
$250 pounds. Do you know what?
Yes.
Considering you got the extra signatures on it, I don't think that's too bad.
No, it is one of a kind. And to be honest, it's not something I'm going to go, I want to sell it. It means a lot to me because Red Dwarf are my home city.
I think it's convenient about that. You can fold it away, can't you? That and it's nice.
When they were doing the auction, I just looked around the table and said to everybody, "Nobody's having that. Nobody in this room's having that. I want that."
And how much have you had to drink before then?
A fair bit. To be fair, but honestly, at the beginning of the auction, it reminded me this the day before, I actually bid on and won a Better Than Life t-shirt. It's a really, really rare, one-of-a-kind t-shirt. And I was pissed, and I won it, and I put it on and went and danced in it. So...
A scream one.
Someone come and told me off. It's like, do you know how much that costs? Like, yeah, I was paid for it. I was drunk, mate.
I love that though. It's that classic thing though, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, how much it costs? I know how much it costs. I paid for it, so it's mine. I can do what I like with it now.
Yeah.
But
if I want to wear my "Let's Go Out There and Twat It" t-shirt at work, I will.
We all need one of those t-shirts.
Oh, we do.
So yes, my absolute pleasure, and we will be doing this again. Thank you so much to everyone who's been in the chat and the comments. I'm sorry if I've not been going through them. This is a problem I'm going to be having with live streams now. Is I want to sit down and read all your comments. I will put them on the screen, but I'm going to get the words wrong and everything else. So,
I mean, you've seen me as well. I struggle to look at the camera, so
I apologise for that. I really do. So there is only one way that we can end this stream. And now I've lost it. Give me 1 second. I'll get it back.
Stoke me a clipper. I'll be back for Christmas.
Yep, that's how we're going to end it. See you later. Bye.
Hang on.